My name is Ronak Vyas and this video is a collaboration with Programming Knowledge. In the previous videos, we talked about and implemented how we can develop a REST API using Spring and Spring Boot. We talked about how we can create our CRUD application, which is create, update, delete, and we also wrote the business logic or the business service for it, and we also had our controller and our entity. So let's just see the API in action before we jump on to the next concept. So here we have our to-dos and we'll just do a get request to see how it works. And yeah, as you can see, we have our 3 tasks here, which we already had here. So until now, we have only worked with a database or a list as an arrays list as database, right? We haven't actually used a proper real database where we can actually save our data. So in the upcoming videos and in this video, we'll talk about how we can actually use an in-memory database, something called as Apache Derby, and also talk about in later videos how we can actually use an external database, for example, MySQL, Oracle, or anything of that sort, any relational database. So in this video, we'll talk about how we'll be actually using those databases inside our Spring Boot application, and the way it is being done using Spring and Java is by something called as JPA or Spring Data JPA. So let's talk about what JPA is first. So here I have a really nice blog post, which the link will be in the description, where you can actually learn about what is JPA, Spring Data, and Spring Data JPA in detail. And we'll actually be going through this little blog post and understanding what all of these are. So let's have some background. So as you know, in the last decade or two, the world of data has seen a big growth. So there's a lot of databases here which provide a fast processing mechanism and specialized storage. So we have things like graph databases, document databases, key value databases, and column databases, rows and columns. So SQL, NoSQL, all of that. And while none of these are a one-stop solution to store all types of data in a single application, we have something called as Polyglot Persistence, or basically you use the kind of database that is required for your specific type of problem. So for example, if you have a very big e-commerce website, so the data for all of your product list will be stored in a JSON NoSQL format, and the account information for each user will be stored in a SQL database. So in a single application, we can have multiple databases because each of them have their own advantages and disadvantages. So we make sure that we know what the advantages are. Now, previously, the way you used to use SQL databases inside Java was something called as JDBC, and JDBC was fine, but you had to write SQL queries manually for every single logic or every single service that you have, and that caused a lot of pain. So Java has created something called as a Java Persistent API, which is a JPA. So this aims towards bringing consistency around accessing different databases. So before JPA, as we said, we use the JDBC API to query them. With JDBC, we have provided native SQL queries, and we had to write those string representation of SQL queries, which was not only tedious but error prone. And obviously, the query syntax may change when you change the database. So MySQL and Oracle might have some differences in their syntax, and you'll have to manually change them or write the queries when you actually use them as your database. So now JPA is all about creating objects which can directly be mapped to the data objects. So the application will use JPA specification to push the object or retrieve the object from database, and this will be taken care all by the underlying JPA implementations. So we'll be using Hibernate in this case, and we'll talk about that later as well. So now this process of creating objects which can directly be mapped to the database objects, something called as object relational mapping or OR. So with ORM, we use an API to query a particular database entity, and the result is provided in the form of a collection of Java objects. So you don't have to worry about how your object is being mapped to the database. The JPA takes care of that using something called as object relational mapping. So in our case, where we are building a to-do list API, we have a to-do object, and the JPA automatically map the to-do object with the database entity. So similarly, we just need to populate Java objects and pass them to the API. And the underlying ORM implementation is responsible for converting these API call into network SQL queries. So how that is being done, we'll be talking about that later. But let's first see what is Spring Data JPA. So Spring Data JPA is one of those many Spring Data projects which aims to bring consistency for all kinds of relational databases, be it SQL, Oracle, etc., etc. So now let's see what advantages we have when we use Spring Data JPA. So when we have a Spring Data JPA, we don't have to write a data access layer or any SQL statement at all, at least for the basic things which you need in our application. So based on the JPA specification, let's say MySQL, the underlying JPA implementation enables the entity objects and the metadata mapping. It also enables the entity manager who is responsible for persisting and retrieving entities from database. So as you can see, the Spring Data JPA is handling everything for you in the form of an API, and it already has its own underlying implementations. For example, Hibernate, which deals with anything that you want to do with your data, and we'll see how that works in a minute. So the Spring Data JPA defines repository interfaces which have the methods for storing and finding entity beans from the database. So it already has the implementations and the interfaces that you need to actually build your database queries. Now, while the interface only defines the query method, Spring at runtimes provides proxy implementations for the defined interfaces. So you will not be seeing these implementations, but when you use the function calls, you'll know that how all of these work, which is pretty basic, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now let's see how this works. Let's see how we'll be actually using the repository Spring Data JPA inside our to-do application with the help of an example. So we have something called as query methods, and the name of the methods declared in the repository interfaces are actually converted to low-level SQL queries by Spring. So here we have a very simple example of an employee repository where the employee will be having to do some basic functionalities. For example, finding all the employees, find by ID, find by first name, last name, etc., etc. So now, as you can see, this is just an interface. There's no implementation which the person had to write for this. You just need the employee object or the class, and for our example, it's the to-do class, and later we first do a simple function call. So by Spring, by the interface, you have something called as find all. So the find all method will simply be select star from employees. So the find all method behind the scenes is converted to the low-level SQL query, which is select star from employees. The second method pushes the where clause on the employee field, or find a select star from employees where ID is equal to employee ID, something like that. Similarly for the third and fourth one. So this is how we'll be integrating Spring Data JPA with our application, where we won't be having to actually write a lot of SQL queries or any SQL queries. We'll just be taking up or adding in some function calls similar to this, not exactly this, but similar to this, and you'll see that in very less changes in the code, we'll actually have a working database inside our REST API. So now, how does this work? Let's actually start. So before we end the video for today, let's actually make a to-do repository. So a repository is basically an interface. We'll be having an interface which actually will set up all of this for us. So let's go to do new class, and we'll be calling this class to do repository and finish. So in the next video, we'll actually be implementing, or it's not a class, sorry, it's an interface. So in the next video, we'll actually be seeing how we implement the to-do repository, and in the upcoming videos, we'll be using an in-memory database called as Apache Derby for now, and in the later videos, we'll actually move ahead and work with MySQL and etc. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.